Hey guys, it's Austin with Forward Controls, and today we're going to be talking about the SBT, our SRO battery tool. So what is this product? Who's it designed for, and why should you care? Well, if you own an SRO or a RMR HD, which is what I'm going to use in the examples today, you have at least once had to replace the battery, right? And undoubtedly you figured out that that is not a fun task. If it's just one or two times, a year, or maybe once every 2-3 years, because you don't shoot very much, or you power it down when it's not in use, this tool probably isn't for you. Unless you want to buy it, obviously, you're more than welcome to buy it. But we designed this for a couple people. First of all was armorers, people who are, especially within agencies, doing 10s, 50s, hundreds of SROs and RMR HDs every single year. The task of changing that battery is pretty laborious, and so we wanted to offer a tool that made it easy. And also, if you're a competition shooter, you're probably shooting once or twice, possibly even a week if you're a really aggressive competition shooter. And you're outside a lot, you're in bright sunny days a lot, and so you're probably going through batteries a lot faster if you're running an RMR HD or an SRO. So those are the people that these are designed for. Again, if you want to pick one up, you're more than welcome to. But that was kind of the design and the intent that we had in mind. So the RMR HD and the SRO has a pretty interesting battery placement. Now, they definitely helped us out a lot by moving it to the top side versus underneath on the original RMR, so you had to re-zero anytime you changed the battery. But there were some drawbacks, right, which was that this little lip right here, you can't just fit a standard screwdriver in there, perfectly perpendicular with the deck of the optic itself, right? And so we experimented with a few designs on how do we mitigate that, right? So the first one was something like this T-handle. This is just a tool that I use for installing different cages on one of my cameras, but a T-handle was one option we looked at, or I guess this would be an L handle. We also experimented with like a T-handle, like a fix-it stick style. We'll get into that, but the downside of something like this is you are limited in how much of a rotation you can do, per turn by the sides of the window, right? You have left and right limits of how far you can turn. At most, you could get maybe 100 to 120 degrees rotation, depending on where that little plus was angled at. But this was kind of probably the most laborious way to do it. And also the drawback of this is that L handle, or even if it was a T handle, would give you the ability to exert way more torque than is necessary for the battery cap, right? So that didn't work. What we've seen mostly, and what I'm sure most people do, is probably just take like an angled approach, coming in at an angle with a flathead screwdriver, but they give you a cross section that you can engage with, right? So how do we maximize that cross section? How do we deal with that lip, and how do we not give you a tool that is not fun to use and also positions you to put more torque that is necessary? So that's all the context. The SBT addresses all of that. It comes in two parts. You get the handle, right, and you get the bit itself. Now, this bit is a Phillips in the sense that there are two perpendicular hatches going on there, but unlike, let me pull out here's one. So unlike a standard Phillips, which comes to a point, this one is actually blunted, and that matches up perfectly with the geometry of the battery cap on the SRO. So that's one win. And then also, as you can see, we did some additive manufacturing, and we actually brought it to a very narrow taper on the center point of the bit, and the bit tip and then the 1/4 inch drive are like standard bit size. So then on the screwdriver handle side, it's just a standard little 1/4 inch drive. This is also additive manufacturing, which is pretty cool. It's in our gorgeous green. And the benefit of this is that everyone knows how to use a screwdriver, right? I think it's probably one of the earliest tools. Kids have toy screwdrivers, right? One of the earliest tools we know how to use, and you're able to get as much rotation as you want with it, right? You're not limited at all in how much you can rotate this like you would have been with a L-handled type of tool. So, like we as humans have been interacting with screwdrivers for hundreds of years, I'm able to come in at a perfectly perpendicular angle, and I'm able to just unscrew this battery cap. This is actually the first time I've unscrewed this in maybe a year or two, so it's gonna be pretty gross. And there you go, it's that easy, right? So what this does, you know, at forward controls, we're big on maximizing, you know, the efficiency of the mechanics of the human body. And all this does is this just takes the most simple way anybody knows how to screw in and out any type of screw or cap, and it enables you to do that with the unconventional geometry we have going on here, right? So you get your fresh battery in there, and then, you know, just as simple as, I know it's kind of funny for me to show you how to use a screwdriver, but I'm just kind of illustrating how easy this is to do. And look, I'm done. It's that simple. And again, because of the design of the screwdriver, I'm not going to exert a massive amount of torque that's unnecessary. I mean, you could, right? If you wanted to, you could just crank on this thing, but it doesn't lend itself to doing so in an intuitive way like, you know, the L handle, or even if this was like a T handle, it's not going to lend you to over tighten it just in its design, right? It's designed to be intuitive and not be too much torque. So another way you're able to get a little bit of economy of use out of this, right? This is a tool, you bought it, you might as well get the most out of it. There's some versatility with being able to take a 1/4 inch drive. So in this example, I'm just going to use a flathead. The Aimpoint Acro uses a flathead bit. And just as easily, I'm able to unscrew this battery cap and replace this battery, right? So those are just a couple different ways you can use the SRO battery tool. Hope you guys enjoyed this explanation. Again, if you're doing a lot of SROs and RMR HD battery changes, this is probably gonna be the tool for you. But again, if you just want to own it and have a useful little tool in your armorer's bench, it's great for that too. But hope you guys enjoyed this explanation. Thank you so much and have a good day.